Hey y'all, time for a little update. So I've been eating more, trying to gain some muscle, trying to gain some weight. So far, things are going well. At the lowest body weight, my leanest, I was like 185.6 pounds. As of the end of last week, the average for that week was 191.6 pounds. So a 6 pound gain in around 5 weeks. So I'll take that. That's not too bad. I do feel like most of the gain was muscle. I took an update picture too, so you can see. So yes, I know I've gained some fat. I can tell the abs aren't quite as defined. I do tend to store it more on the lower abs, so I'm starting to see some of that storage starting to come in. Um, but that's kind of the last place I lose it, first place I regain it. So I know that's going to happen. But I don't feel like I put on 6 pounds of fat. I think it would look very different otherwise. So I'm not sure exactly what that ratio is, how much muscle, how much fat, but I do feel like things are going well. I feel like most of it's been muscle, so that's kind of what the plan was. Um, what I'm trying to do. So I haven't been very strict with the mass gain diet, meaning if I was hungry, I just ate. Um, Not necessarily going crazy, otherwise that weight gain would have been a whole lot more. And I can eat enough to where I would have gained a whole lot more than just 6 pounds in 5 weeks. So I mean, I haven't just gone off the rails, but I also haven't followed the plan I had in place. So I probably need to get a little more strict about that. I think that will help to, maximize the amount of muscle gain and minimize the amount of fat gain, but there's still going to be some. And so I think that will help me get what I'm looking for better. If I keep going at this rate, then there's going to be more fat gain than I really want. But when the fat loss phase comes around again, I can lose that. So even if I don't, it's not the end of the world. It won't be the worst thing. Um, the plan for this is to hopefully go for a few more months, 2, 3, I'd say at least. Hopefully, at that point, I've gained a decent amount of size with as little as possible, fat gain. But there's going to be some. There's no getting around that. And so if I'm at a point there where I feel like okay, I need to drop some of the fat, that's when I'll do the mini cut for just 2 or 4 weeks. So that'll be a kind of quick fat loss phase, just to kind of get rid of some of that excess body fat and kind of pave the way for a little bit more muscle gain. So maybe it gives me another 2 months, let's say, of building muscle before moving into another fat loss phase. Um, so that would end up being close to 6 months or so, including the mini cut, where I'm trying to gain some muscle, and then maybe I can go longer than that. If things are going well, I can extend that mass gain phase out. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Um, so sorry, I had to clear my throat. So maybe I can extend that mass gain phase even longer. Maybe I can get like 8 months or something. And what I'm hoping to do, we'll see how it works, is that maybe I can kind of keep the fat in check so that when it does come time for another fat loss phase, I don't have to go quite as long. So in an ideal world, I wouldn't have to go quite as long and I'd get a little bit leaner than last time, but at a heavier weight. So let's say, this past time my body weight was like 185.6. And that's about the leanest I've been, or really close to it. But that was probably at least 3 pounds heavier than before. So maybe this time I could have that same level of leanness or a little bit more, but be like 188, 190. That would be great. And I mean, another thing too that might be nice from a different kind of standpoint is kind of not being that lean, but still being fairly lean, like maybe close to where I am now, but have that weight be 200 versus the 191 and a half, 191.6. So yeah, I feel good, definitely. I didn't feel bad at the end of the fat loss phase. I didn't get to that point where it was really starting to affect energy levels or sleep or anything along those lines. So I can't say I've noticed any changes there. I was sleeping good, had good energy then. Probably do have a little bit more now just because there's more food. Um, And like I said, just things are going well. I did have to change the workout plan just because of life circumstances. Just, you know, there's a lot to do around the house and different things. So I've been having to kind of clear trees and different things along those lines. So trying to work out 5 times a week, do all that in work and everything else, it was just too much. So I was tired. I was having to skip a workout because either I was too tired to do it or I just didn't have the time to. And so skipping 1 or 2 workouts a week just didn't make sense. So it made more sense to change the plan and work out less frequently. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working out 3 days a week. I've gone back to the old school bodybuilding type routine, similar to one that I did when I really had probably some of the best gains. For me, what I've noticed is I tend to make my best gains when I work really hard. So where there's a real, high intensity, meaning the weight on the bar is heavy, at least relative for me. And then also there's a very high effort level during the set. So taking things to failure as close to it as I possibly can, taking long rest breaks and repeating that. That seems to work really well for me. So what I'm doing now is kind of an old school Beyond Brawn. That's a book by Stuart and Robert. It's kind of that program. The big thing with it is you pick one exercise. It's either like a deadlift of some type. I got a deadlift bar, or a trap bar. Use that. And then I'm using a belt squat for the other one. But you do 20 reps on the exercise with a fairly heavy weight. And it's a rest pause. So what you do is like you do a rep, so like for the trap bar, I'll stand up with it, put the weight back down, take a breath, repeat. And so you just kind of keep taking breaths in between each rep. As you move through the set, you're breathing harder. And so you might take, several breaths before doing that next rep, but you get 20 reps. So I did just do that workout yesterday, 245 pounds on that deadlift bar I actually did 22 reps because I lost count when I was doing it, or thought I lost count. So I did the extra just to be on the safe side. It was still easy. It's breathing hard at the end, but felt like I could do a lot more reps. That's what I mean by easy. So I'll bump up another 20 pounds next week. The progression on that, as it gets harder, there'll be less weight. So hopefully what it'll probably be is I'll do like 20 pounds once, maybe twice more if I'm lucky. Then I'll probably be like a 10-pound jump for a few weeks, and then it'll go down to 5-pound jump for a few weeks, and then it'll keep going down. I do have some of the fractional plates where I could even add as little as just half a pound each week. And I'll plan to do that, maybe not quite that low, but plan to do that for a while just to kind of keep that progressive overload going and keep the cycle going as long as I can. And then I pick some exercises for back, for chest and shoulders, and that's it. And so I basically do that workout twice a week. It's very similar to what we talked about in some of the other videos, where it's just a very basic program if you're trying to just start to exercise just for some health benefits. Like I don't think you have to change that very much at all to try to get a lot of muscle building benefits too. And then I do have one other workout. So the third workout is just kind of accessory movement. So that's when I train biceps, triceps, and calves. There's no way I want to do it with those other workouts. I am tired by the end of that. I don't feel like I need to do more. You might hear Stormy. She's meowing and playing, so sorry if that's in the background. But yeah, on those 2 harder workouts, I don't want to do calves, don't want to add the arms in. I'm already tired, I don't need more. But I do like having on that 3rd day. It's just kind of another day where I can at least get in the gym and work out some, but it's a very quick, short workout and doesn't have some big impact. All right, I guess Stormy is making her appearance. So she's getting a lot bigger, I think you guys can see, but she's been a sweet little cat. She likes to get loved on, and she's getting very playful too. So, all right guys, I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and Stormy and I will see you next time.